guys, if you're new here, I'm Sandy. I do crafts, usually. And if you're joining me again, thanks so much for hanging out. So today I have not done a lot of crafts this week. I have had a weird week. I don't know, we just, even like the weekend, usually on the weekend, like, I mean, on a day-to-day basis, I like to do a half a thing a day, but for some odd reason, we did like 4 things every day, and it was just very overwhelming. But yeah, so knitting-wise, this is pretty much the biggest deal. So I'm working on the Bare Necessities set by Debbie Bliss, and I'm using the Debbie Bliss Cashmerino. This is darling. It's for my nephew, who now exists in the world, so I need to power down. Anything that isn't this is pretty much just not going to get worked on until it's done. Isn't that cute? Oh my goodness. And then I'm going to embroider little teddy bear faces. Big shout out to Janet, who left me a wonderful comment telling me it is normal to line baby blankets. So I am just so ready to get this done, get it blocked, and then I can move forward on quilting that linen. So yeah, like, I am ecstatic. I need to get this done. Like, if it's not this or my temperature blanket, it's not happening this week. And besides, I still have not found my fabric scissors. I have not unpacked at all. I think I'm just, again, getting this done, and then I can worry about the rest of my life. But as for the temperature blanket, look at it! So this is the temperature blanket I'm making. The pattern's by Wool and Hook. It's in the Drops Karisma, which is just a really good superwash wool. It's not like the like, it's soft. I wouldn't make a sweater out of it, but for a blanket, especially for me, wool blankets, I will keep like a quilt, and then if I'm still cold, I'll pop a wool blanket on top as like the warmth layer. So yeah, but this is amazing. I can't believe how far I've come on it. It's starting, like, this is a legit scarf. Like, I could wear this as a scarf and nobody would blink an eyelid. I'm so excited. I don't know, there's just something so magical about it. And just seeing it like grow, and yeah. Also, being aware of the weather, oh my goodness, how convenient is that? I've never been aware of the weather, but now I'm just like, okay, well, yesterday it was this, today it might be this, so I need to bring a jacket. Like, I've never had that kind of awareness in my life of what was going on, which, you know, I think the reason, though, is because Canada's always like half Celsius, half Fahrenheit, so I never really like understood, but now I understand. I've developed a weather sense, and I thank this blanket for it. Oh, that's like the size of my head. Okay. Don't know why that's important information, but it's good to know. Yeah, so that's the craft content I have. Again, it's short this week. Pretty much we're buckling down on this Bare Necessities set. Wish me luck. And yeah, honestly, like, I don't know why I'm trying to do so much. But yesterday, I was making Baxter dog treats, because I make him homemade dog treats, and I thought there must be somebody else in the world who might be interested in this, so I decided to film it. I know there is, because people ask me about it when I have them at pubs. I'm always like, oh, sorry, the treat's a little janky, like, I make them. And they're just like, make your own dog treats. It's easy. So if you are not interested in that, totally cool. Thank you for hanging out. I'll see you next week. If you are, then let's talk about why I make my own dog treats. So this all started when I bought Baxter some Frozzies, and I was reading the ingredients on them, and I'm just like, this is literally just yogurt and fruit. Like, why am I paying €6 for this? Like, a bit of a ripoff, you know? Like, this could be made for 50 cents. So I tried it. I got some yogurt. I think I had some bananas, and just accepted the fact that I'm probably not gonna make banana bread. And just whizzed them up. I think I've done it with frozen mango too. I've put them in an ice cube tray. Next time I make them, I didn't have any leftover yogurt. Next time I make it, I'll film it though. It's so easy. And he loves them. And they're not like €6 for 4 tiny packs. Just saying. Yeah, so then I thought, okay, well, what if I make biscuits? Because the thing we have with Baxter is he's a beagle cross, so he's a bit, flatulent at times. If you've ever been around a beagle, you know they are, like, we could weaponize the stuff that comes out of him. And part of it too is that he is a little bit allergic to everything that dogs can be allergic to except fleas. So he takes a pill a day and he's fine with gluten. He is. He can handle gluten. But if he has too much, we will smell it. So we try to keep his gluten down. And gluten-free dog treats are hard to find, really expensive, and he does not particularly like them. Like, he will refuse the treats at the vet. He is not a healthy treat boy. He wants a good, yummy treat. And third is, again, like, it's so expensive. And I felt like I could do it. And I'm the way I am. I mean, I'm the type of person that thinks I can make my own shoes. So, you know, which I will totally start at some point this year. I just got to unpack. I mean, we unpacked the bar perfectly fine. You'd think the sewing room would be next, but I don't know. So yeah, so we, I had this idea that I'm going to make him some dog biscuits. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to make him like special ones. So I did like tomato and spinach and like chicken and red pepper. I just did straight chicken ones. He went bonkers for those. And I started noticing the more I was kind of mixing things. I did like an apple, banana, oat, and date. And like I just started mixing little bits of everything I had. And I started noticing he did not care about like specially selected flavor patterns. So I started a plastic bag in my freezer. So just like a Ziploc, like standard, you'll see it in the instructional portion of this video. And he, like, I would put things like, okay, the tops of tomatoes, if I'm making a sandwich, I don't like the tops and the bottoms in them, carrot peels, sweet potato peels, broccoli stems, like all dog safe things. Double check before you feed your dog any vegetables that it is dog safe, because, you know, some things are not, like even with fruit. One day I'm so happy I did the research because I thought, okay, currants, I mean, currants are like a dicey one because they're sort of related to grapes, but they're not, so you can't, you know, always double check that dogs can eat anything before you put it in the bag. But even with the dog stuff, like dog safe stuff, like spinach, you know, when it's a little, and don't put anything rotten, like nothing with mold, nothing that's rotten. But you know how spinach gets like a little wilty and it's kind of like I'm sure it's fine to eat, and if you like melt it down, you need to do it in like a spanakopita or like a spinach pie or something. But let's say I wanted a spinach salad, I would not use it because it just looks a little sad. I just pop it in the bag, you know, anything like that. Carrots that are a little dry and sad, into the bag or into the stock bag, depending what I got going. So yeah, like it's great. I collect all these scraps, and then it kind of went one step further when I realized I'm using fresh eggs in this all the time, but yet I'm constantly throwing out egg whites because sometimes I need like just one egg yolk for something, especially I bake a lot. So I'm not going to make a meringue out of one egg white because first off, it's a lot of work. And secondly, then there's a fight of who gets to eat the meringue. So I started putting my egg whites in there, and egg whites are better for the treats because they keep the fat lower. But if I need like half an egg for something, then I'll just throw the other half. Like if a little yolk gets in there, I'm not gonna freak out, but I would prefer, if it's not as fattening, I would prefer like more egg yolks or egg whites. You know what I'm saying? Because egg white literally is just like pure protein. So I started putting all my egg whites in there, and yeah, like suddenly these treats just became even more and more, and he loves them. He thinks they taste like the best thing in the world. Adam tried them, which he does. He's just like, yeah, they just taste like a vegetable fritter. I mean, there's no salt in them, so, you know, it's, I don't think they'd be delicious, but in a pinch, I suppose. But no, he loves them. He thinks they are the tastiest things in the world. And yeah, so I'm not gonna say they're like totally free because you're using scraps. I mean, obviously you have the energy to bake them, that you're using the oven. You have the, what am I even doing? The chickpea flour. So for me, I use chickpea flour because of Baxter's gluten thing. If you use normal flour if your dog can handle it, honestly. Like, I've used normal flour before. They turn out fine. Probably even better because the gluten helps hold the structure. But yeah, so that's my intro. I'm just gonna get into making them. I think I'm just trying to talk for talking's sake right now, which is never good. But yeah, basically the reason I do them is because I just realized it's easy, it's cheaper, there's really no reason not to. And also, oh, the other big reason is that a lot of his treats, first off, to do positive reinforcement with dogs, you need to be so on it and give them so many treats, especially Baxter is incredibly food motivated. So it's good, but he, like, you need to constantly give them treats. And so part of that is, first off, a lot of the treats you buy are really big. So this way I can control the size of treats and kind of how many he's getting. And secondly, a lot of them, like if he's sitting on the couch being good, I want to give him a treat. But I'm usually knitting or something, so I don't want to touch a lot of them, I don't know, dog treats will leave your hands like so oily and gross and disgusting. So, yeah, so these ones are good. They don't leave that like gross residue on your hands. Even the ones that are like full chicken don't have as big of an issue with that. Yeah, so I can keep them by the couch when I'm knitting. If he's being good, I'll give him a treat and then continue knitting. So yeah, I'll get on to the instructional part because I think I've covered why, what to put in them. Oh, and with the things, I keep a bag of kind of like sweet and like savory. So savory, I do like the carrot peels, potatoes, that's what I'm making in this one. Sweet, I do like apple peels if I'm making like a pie or something, or dates, bananas, you know, strawberries that are a bit overripe. Anything like that, throw them in the sweet one. Sweet, I usually add granola to the sweet as well, maybe some peanut butter. I talk about putting granola, or oats. Sorry, not granola, oats. Just straight up plain oats. Don't put anything that you're like, because dogs need things. And with peanut butter, make sure that the only ingredient on the peanut butter is peanuts. And that's it. Because xylitol is commonly used in peanut butter now, and it's really toxic to dogs. So yeah, just like make sure you, again, have the thought process and do like think about what you're putting in there because you're feeding it to your dog. But yeah, so I just have like a sweet one and a savory one. So the sweet ones I kind of think like porridge vibes. And yeah, so here's the instructional bit. Okay, so here I have my food processor. I have my bag of frozen stuff and egg whites. I have a zucchini I wasn't using for anything, so I'm just going to throw it in. And chickpea flour. So I've already talked about all this. I'm literally just going to throw this all in the food processor. Well, first I'm going to throw the bag in the food processor and the zucchini. Okay, so now I have my vegetable puree in a bowl. It is really watery. Obviously, it was frozen. So I'm going to just slowly start adding my chickpea flour to it. Again, you can use any flour. I might even supplement with some wheat if I don't have enough here. But yeah, so we're just going to add to it until it kind of looks like a cookie dough. Okay, so this is what mine turned out like. See, it's almost like a drop cookie dough. I used all that chickpea flour and I haven't put any wheat in because I think it's good. Again, there's no real recipe. I say this again, I haven't even recorded the first part where I talked to it, but hopefully I said it. I'm saying again in case I repeat myself. There's really no ingredient amounts for this because it all depends. Like if you had watery vegetables in yours, or if they were a little riper, it just all depends on your scraps. So you kind of want it to look sort of like this. It could be a little stiffer and you'll have to cook it less. It can be a little looser and you'll have to cook it more. So that's pretty much, yeah, it's such a loosey-goosey process. I might add a handful of oats in here as well. So mine made quite a bit, so I ended up needing another pan. I'm going to put these in the oven. I'm going to do them for maybe like a half hour and then see what they look like. They might need more, they might need less. Okay, so they literally just came out of the oven. You have to work a little fast at this part. So I'm going to put them on a cutting board. So drop the temperature in your oven super low. And then cut them. You just want to score them into how you're going to cut them. So what this will do is we're going to bake them again. We're essentially making a biscotti. And this will make them really, really easy to tear apart. So I make mine quite small. And I'm going to do this while it's still hot. Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare because they crisp up as they cool. So yeah, turn the oven to low and get this done, and I'll check in with you in a sec. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm putting them in the oven on its lowest setting, and I'm just gonna let those go for a few hours, honestly. We want to dehydrate them a little bit. Okay, so I took mine out a little bit earlier. Honestly, my apartment was just getting really warm and I was dying, so I decided to take them out a bit early. It's fine. So yeah, after that, I'm trying not to get like my dirty lunch dishes in here. Literally, they just pull apart. And if you think you made them too big or small, even from this, they'll pull apart even farther. So now that they're done and they're cool, I think the most important thing to do is Baxter, lie down. No, that's an introduce yourself. Lie down. Good boy. Baxter, introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. Oh, so good to meet you, Baxter. There you go. I think they passed the test. Okay, so it is really easy. For storage, I keep them, I have a bunch of these gray containers in different sizes. I keep them, this one just came out of the fridge. I keep them in the fridge when I'm not using them. So we have one that sits out by the couch that's sitting out there now that I took out this morning, and then tonight I'll put it in the fridge. This one has been in the fridge because it's extra. I have one that we keep in our bedroom because Baxter sleeps in the bedroom with us, and that way if he barks and stops, we can give him a treat, or if he because he growls at us sometimes at night, so if he does that, we can stop him and give him a treat. Again, positive reinforcement, you just need to be on it and you need to like constantly be rewarding, whenever they do something good. So, yeah, he loves them. I've made so many. They end up looking like this. Again, a little, like, when I take them to pubs, I'll always be like, oh, sorry, they're a little jank. Like, I made them. But people say they look nice. So, I have ones that live a little bag in my coat, a little bag in Adam's coat. But those ones we just keep out all the time because we go through them. They're for when we walk him, and we are really focusing right now on lead training him a bit because, I don't know, I mean, we've had this dog for since 2019. I mean, it's not like he's badly trained, he's really well trained, but the move I think really kind of discombobulated him a little bit. So we're trying to just get everything right back really on point. So, yeah, so it's just a really good way to use something that you would be throwing away and use it to make a really good product. They love, it's really, really fun. And yeah, so on the water thing, now if you want to keep them out all the time, if you have a dehydrator, which we're looking at getting one, if you have a dehydrator, pop them in the dehydrator. The more water you can get and the more moisture you can get out of these, that'll also make them crunchier if your dog likes that. So yeah, the more moisture you can get out of these, the longer they'll keep outside the fridge. But I just kind of treat them like a cookie, like I would any sort of cookie I bake, and yeah, any sort of cookie cake vibe that I bake. It works. Anyway, I hope that was enjoyable. If you have any questions, please ask. I love answering questions. Yeah, and thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry there wasn't a ton of craft stuff. But, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And, well, yes, crafts are life. I guess sometimes they're just not. So sad. They should be, though. Crafts and champagne. Wouldn't that be a life? Okay, not at the same time, though. Let me tell you, I've made that mistake. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I'll see you next week, and I'll link everything below. Bye!